I'm Dewey.
I'm Gail.
And we're going to be... Do you want to use that or do it again? Or do you want to include the laughs? What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Star Wars Explained Weekly Q&A. I'm Dewey.
I'm Gail.
And we're going to be talking about some actual Star Wars movie news that came out this past week. It's been kind of slow, but I guess I should point out that we're dressed up for Halloween. I know you're watching this on November 2nd, but we're recording it on October 31st. So
yeah, we're about to leave to go to a Halloween thing.
Yeah. Got a Halloween party tonight. We've got one tomorrow. And then we've got our third wedding in 2 months to go to on Saturday. So still busy.
But I thought of these costumes very last minute. I was like, oh, we could be characters from Scream, the first Scream, and Gail has this iconic lime green suit thing that she wears, and you grew a mustache.
There, yeah. I was any excuse to grow a mustache, really. But I do love Dewey.
Yeah.
We love the Scream movies. That might be my favorite horror franchise.
Maybe like top 2 or 3 slasher movies for me.
It has been a while since I haven't done a Star Wars costume. I think the last one I did was Midnight Mass. I just did the preacher and like slowly put more and more blood on my mouth over the course of the night.
Oh yeah, because you did the Night Trooper last time, and then you did B2 Emo
the year before that.
Yeah, which he still lives in our
I still
garage.
have that cardboard. I'm like, I can't bring myself to get rid of it.
No.
I might need it again.
He looks cozy up there.
Yeah.
It feels so weird. I feel like I should talk into this microphone.
Yeah, I mean, you're reporting. You're on the case.
Live from Woodsboro.
Live from Woodsboro, we have some Star Wars movie news, sort of. The big question that popped up this past week was, what's going on with the Rey movie? And I think all of this spawned from articles that came out last Friday, the day after we recorded our Q&A, of course.
Of course.
So we're about a week late. Puck News and Variety both reported and corroborated that Stephen Knight, the writer for the new Jedi Order Rey movie, has departed the project. And so, of course, people are all up in arms, wondering what that means. But on the exact same day, I think, Daisy Ridley was on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast and talked about how news surrounding the project was imminent, that she may have seen something, which I think means she's seen the script, and they might be about to announce going into the next stages, which I assume means pre-production or production. So I don't know. I think we're probably going to get more news about all of this soon.
Yeah, I trust Daisy Ridley over whoever Puck News is, but the idea that Stephen Knight has departed the project doesn't mean he was fired, doesn't mean they kicked him out the door. He just left, and he could have finished the script and been like, here you go, I gotta go do the what is it, the
Peaky Blinders.
Penny Blinders.
Peaky
Blinders. I get Penny Dreadful and Peaky Blinders mixed up.
Yeah, I kind of think that is what's likely, because the Peaky Blinders movie is about to start filming, I believe, and Stephen Knight is the creator of that series, and they're about to make the movie, so I kind of figure he was always going to be needed for that project. So I know that there's a good reason for Star Wars fans to be like, not again. That
here we go again.
Yeah, it feels very much like that, but I think that maybe he is just having to go on to a new project. And the way Daisy Ridley's talking, I'm wondering if he has delivered a finished script or a almost finished script, and then they'll hire a new writer to finish it and polish it, or just someone to be on set while they go into production, because scripts do still evolve, things change. I've only worked on like 2 movie sets as a PA, but every single day we would get new script pages, and like the script continues to change and evolve, so they do need a writer, but it might just be that Stephen Knight is not going to be the writer on set.
Yeah, I mean, he was on this project as a writer for 18 months-ish. Some of those months were during the strikes, so he probably wasn't writing then, but still, I think that's long enough for him to have written a full script. If it is a full script, I think it's safe to say he could have finished it, or at least gotten, the main story idea down, and then is like, yeah, I can't stay on. We're doing this other movie that I'm the creator of the show for, so I'm going to move on to this. And they were like, great, we love what you have so far. We'll have someone else, like you said, polish it up for when we're shooting.
I'm trying to remember. I should have looked this up, but I feel like when Damon Lindelof exited the project, there was a little more talk about, there were some creative differences. And I think at that point, we didn't even really know what the project was, but we knew Lindelof was writing something, and then he left, and it was like we weren't gelling. We weren't on the same page with things. And then Stephen Knight came on, and there hasn't really been any talk from anyone. Like, again, this is all coming from like Variety, which I would say is reputable. And I think Puck News is someone that used to work at Hollywood Reporter. So these are people with connections and everything, but still, it's all just like a game of telephone.
Right.
And who knows what's really happening. But yeah, what's really got me thinking is Daisy Ridley saying news is imminent. And she said that in multiple interviews. So I think we're probably going to get some official news in the near future. That's my hope.
When news like this drops, the people dropping the news are going to want to put the most clickable title on it. And they're probably not going to want to go into details about whether or not it was amicable or any details like that. They're just going to put so-and-so leaves Star Wars project, because that's going to drum up a lot of clicks and a lot of drama and people being like, oh, here we go again.
Right. Just the way that everything today is driven by what's the most tantalizing headline, what's the most clickable. Everything is driven by clicks. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too, just seeing a headline and being like, oh no, and then the actual article is not even that dramatic. But I hear whatever the headline is and think the worst. It's just exhausting.
I mean, this could mean very good things. Like we said, it could mean that it's done, could mean that they're bringing on a different writer that could be exciting. I don't know. This does not scream bad news to me at all.
Yeah, I think that Star Wars fans are just leaning towards that because there have been so many so-and-so exits project because of creative differences. And we hear Stephen Knight departs project, but there was no because. It's not because he was doing a bad job or because he's done his job and is moving on, or like there's a gap to be filled in, and we don't know if it's good or bad news. But I don't think that Daisy would be talking about how like we're going to hear something soon if behind the scenes they're getting rid of the writer.
Right. And even when writers do leave projects because of creative differences, that doesn't mean they stormed out of the building and they were kicked to the curb. This happens all the time.
Yeah, like Damon Lindelof, I remember, I think he did an interview where he was like, yeah, we weren't on the same page, but I had a great time working on it. I hope I get to do a Star Wars project in the future. It just wasn't in the cards for this one. But if they do wind up going into production, if we get an announcement in the imminent future, as Daisy has said, if they start filming in 2025, what do you think about them hitting the 2026 December release date?
I think that would be pretty quick.
I agree. I think it would be doable. I mean, projects do go into production and get turned around fairly quickly. Like, I think Fantastic Four right now is filming and it's going to come out summer of next year. I think. I don't remember the exact release date, but I do think it's possible if they go into production like early 2025. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards, ever since they announced those release dates, one in May 2026 and then December 2026, I was like, maybe we should give it a little more time. I mean, it feels like we're repeating some mistakes with The Last Jedi and Solo.
Sure.
Where it was very quick turnaround, and Mando and Grogu is already going to come out right after Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah. I do worry about another May and December release for Star Wars. I think Star Wars should stick to one movie a year. But the Mando and Grogu stuff, which we'll get into in a little bit, I still get the feeling that was kind of rushed into a film from Mando season 4, and for whatever reason they're trying to push that out first, maybe to soften the blow for this Rey movie. I don't know what they're thinking doing that, but
What do you mean soften the blow?
so that it's not like everyone's saying, oh, the next big Star Wars movie's gotta get it right. They better get it right.
Yeah, I do.
Mando and Grogu is like easy money for them. That's like one of their top selling things right now is the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I do see what you're saying. Like, I remember thinking when they announced the Mandalorian and Grogu, I was like, is this big enough to be the next Star Wars movie back?
Right.
And I still wonder that. I hope it doesn't feel like a couple episodes of the Mandalorian stretched out over 2 hours. I want it to feel like a big epic return to the big screen, but yeah, it does feel like a bit of a safer bet. It's probably going to have a lower budget, and with the box office being the way it is lately, they might need a safer bet. And then whatever comes after that, it's not going to have as much baggage of like, this is the first Star Wars movie back since 2019.
Yeah.
It'll be, well, it's the first one since 2026.
I think if, like you said, if they go into production early next year and the date is 2026.
December 2026 is what they were thinking, yeah.
I think that's doable if the script is done or close to done, and yeah, they're going to go into production soon. If not, and they're like rewriting the script, I doubt we'll hit that mark.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to like what this imminent news means when it happens. If we don't hear anything by Star Wars Celebration in April, then I'll be like, okay, things might be rocky and in trouble here. Right now, I'm like, maybe we'll hear something before then. I will be kind of expecting something in April for them to just be like, we are entering production in a few weeks and we're going to hit that 2026 mark. Or I would totally be fine if they were like, we're actually going to wait until May 2027 or December 2027. Because it's like back in 2015 when they said we're doing one Star Wars movie a year, and then they were kind of playing with multiple. I was like, yeah, do it. Now I'm like, I'm okay with one a year.
Now that
felt like a good pace.
Now that we've seen, I wouldn't call it backlash, but we've seen the reception of one movie a year versus two. And I do think it's just more cushioned if it's just the one per year.
There definitely is just burnout from, I'm someone who is excited for every new Star Wars book, but I have burnt out on Marvel stuff. Like, we watch it and I'm enjoying most of it, but it's not like I have to be there day one anymore. I'm like, I'll see it when it's on Disney Plus, and I'm way more casual about it. And not everyone is like us when it comes to Star Wars. You don't want the more casual audience to burn out.
Right.
So, yeah, I think one a year, especially if the projects are all very different. I think that would be a better pace, but that's just me.
Movies are expensive.
They sure are.
Like, and we don't have kids, but people have...
Oh, going to the movies.
Oh.
I thought you meant making them.
Well, yeah, that too. But going to the movies as a family is really expensive. And studios, I don't know if they're thinking about that necessarily, like how expensive it is to go see a blockbuster. And if we've got multiple Star Wars coming out in a year, multiple Marvel movies coming out in the same months, like people are going to pick one.
Right. That's why I'm like, why are you doing Mando and Grogu right after Avengers Doomsday again? Like, this is Solo and Infinity War all over again. But you're right. Like, I think people have become far pickier about what they go out to the theater to see. Yeah. And then even when you go, people in the theater, the audience is just not good anymore. Like, every movie experience we've had, it seems like someone is talking or like on their phone, or it's just, I feel like people have gotten so used to watching things on their couch that they don't know how to be consider it in a movie theater.
The-
And like that is something that makes me not want to go see a movie in a theater. They need that like Deadpool and Wolverine turn off your effing phones to play before every movie to remind everyone to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my little theater rant.
The manners have gone out the window.
Yeah, but moving more into The Mandalorian and Grogu, that same report that talked about Stephen Knight from Puck News also mentioned that Mando and Grogu has wrapped filming, but then Bespin Bulletin said that it's not going to be wrapped until like December or so, which isn't
It's close.
a big time difference. A month or two of filming is still
I
left.
mean, as soon as I put these Halloween decorations up, Christmas is going up next.
So we might as well be in December.
We're basically there already. We're in December.
Right, we're going to swap that out for a little gift bag, a little Santa hat.
Whether or not it's wrapped, if it is a matter of months, not a big deal. I could see some of it being wrapped and not completely wrapped. Because don't they do like wrap parties and give gifts and stuff for when projects are fully wrapped?
And a lot of times you'll see leaks of like, here's the wrap gift for whatever project.
Yeah, so I feel like this probably means it's close to being wrapped.
I could see it being like the main unit has wrapped, all of the primary actors have wrapped, but the B unit might still be doing some things here or there.
Yeah.
I could see that. It doesn't really surprise me that it would be wrapped already. I mean, they showed off footage at D23 that looked pretty good and pretty finished, which is one of the benefits of shooting in the volume is that it's a faster turnaround. But it does make me think like, oh, they've wrapped awfully early, which is good. I mean, like, give the visual effects department more time. Like, don't send them into a crunch to get a movie done. Give them basically 18 months to finish this thing, 17 months. Like, that's good. Yeah. I think that's good.
And I think because this Mando and Grogu movie was probably essentially the story was going to be Mando season 4, I feel like they probably had all the story beats laid out already, so they probably could go into producing and filming pretty quickly. So the idea that this movie wrapped up quick does not surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm hoping it's not just like 2 or 3 episodes. I want it to feel like a movie and all that, but
I think it's gonna feel like a 3 episode stitched together. But
I'm very curious about what they're gonna do with this, because the Mandalorian just felt like such a good television show to me. Every episode is like new planet, new adventure. It doesn't have the same mini series feel that a lot of Disney Plus series do, despite it still only being 8 episodes per season. At least it was like, oh yeah, this is the episode where they do blank, instead of like, oh yeah, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi part 3.
I think they're saving a lot of money too by just putting this out as a movie instead of a show.
Well, there is, I mean, the streaming era, we've talked about how much of a mess it is. And yeah, I do think streaming leaves a lot of money on the table. It's like all of these companies thought that there was an infinite population that would keep on joining their subscription models. And it's like, there's only so many people in the world. And so like, they've all leveled out. And they're like, oh, wait, this isn't going to grow forever. And
they squeezed a couple more people in there with the whole you can't share passwords business.
Our friend Patrick Willems did a video on streaming, and it was kind of built into like a what's going on in Hollywood thing. But Netflix talked about how much money they were leaving on the table by not putting their movies in theaters. And it's like they refused to do that. But when they put Glass Onion in theaters and we went and saw it, because I'd rather go see a movie on a big screen, really. We don't watch a lot of Netflix original movies. Here or there we do.
Yeah.
But they're just leaving so much money on the table by not getting people out into the theater. So yeah, there is the argument for that.
Plus, like, we know some people kind of in the business, and when you're producing a show, there's so many people that you have to pay more money more times because there's so many more filming days for different episodes and things like that. So like there's just a much larger payroll.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of you have more directors, more writers. It's more overall time, like screen time.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that budgets for TV series are more, and then you're not getting nearly the return on it.
Yeah.
So it maybe Mando and Grogu as a movie is just like a sign of things to come. I think it's a sign of just the continued turmoil in the industry overall as everyone tries to figure out streaming and whatnot.
I'm still excited for the Mando and Grogu movie, don't get me wrong. It feels more like a fun summer flick than a blockbuster movie. Like, usually you think of Star Wars movies, you think of these huge, insane productions that are going to make tons and tons of money. Like, no doubt about it, it is a blockbuster. This is something that I think is a little bit different, that you're taking these characters like Mando and Grogu, who people already know and love. Kids will go crazy to see Grogu on the big screen, and I relate to that. But I don't know, something about this just feels like it'll be more of like oh yeah, that was fun, a fun summer flick of these characters that we already know and love. And then they want the Rey movie to be the blockbuster return to like big Star Wars movies.
I do think that there is some business sense in here where, like you said, they're actually going to get some money back for this production, but also I don't think its budget, we don't know the numbers, but I don't think its budget will be as big as the Rey movie or the Dawn of the Jedi movie or the Dave Filoni movie. I think that this is going to be smaller budget, a bit of an experiment, less risky, but with characters that people already know and love to see.
It'll be interesting to see which of these movies performs better, because you got Mando and Grogu, who already are known, well loved, very big with all ages. But then you have Jedi coming back to the big screen, and Rey coming back to the big screen. So I don't know, like,
and Rey, and we're going to be at a point in time where, let's say that it's in 2026. It's been 11 years since The Force Awakens came out, and those
kids have grown up.
Yeah, the kids who saw The Force Awakens and that was their Star Wars, and they were 7 years old, they're now going to be 18. And so it will be interesting. Like, it seems like it's about time for that cycle to start anew.
Yeah.
And then the Dawn of the Jedi movie will come out and they'll all hate that. But
You're like, what is this?
All of this has happened before and all of it will happen again.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
But someone did ask, do we think it's possible that the Mando and Grogu movie could shift from May 2026 to December 2025 if it has wrapped this early?
Oh.
And I was going to say, I don't think so, because of what you said. Something about it gives off the vibe of fun summer flick.
I don't see them pushing something ahead of schedule. That hardly ever happens.
It would be a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
To be like, you know what? We're moving the release date, but it's coming out 6 months earlier.
With how delayed Skeleton Crew was, that would be really hard to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I think it feels more like a summer movie.
Agreed. Also, I mean, they're already going to have some competition with Avengers Doomsday, but if they go to that December date, I think Avatar 3 comes out around then.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, no matter where you go, unless you go to, I think December 2026 has no other major competition. So I was like, maybe they could move it to then and we keep... I do like having Star Wars in December. That seems really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it just... Something about Mando and Grogu, I'm like, but I kind of want to see it in May. May and December are like the two big Star Wars movie months now.
I know, I'm like, is there no wiggle room on that? Can we do like a Thanksgiving weekend movie?
Riots in the streets.
Isn't Thanksgiving weekend also a kind of a big movie weekend?
The holiday special.
Sure. Let's make it about that.
The last bit of movie news I wanted to talk about is James Mangold is finishing up his current project, a Bob Dylan biopic, I think. But I think he said that next on his plate is Dawn of the Jedi, and suggested that they could go into production as early as 2025, maybe late 2025, but that seems like it's making progress as well.
I'm excited for that. I don't know if I'm looking forward to that or the Rey movie more, but it just is so intriguing to learn more about like the very beginning of the Jedi.
I mean, I think it's great that we're doing as far into the future as we've ever been with the new Jedi Order, and then we're also going to go all the way to the beginning.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I also, when they announced the 3 movies they were working on before they told us about Mando and Grogu, Dawn of the Jedi was the one that I was like, yes, that is my absolute jam, and I want to see that.
Yeah, let's go into production with that one too. Why not?
Well, that seems like awfully early for me. I assume that would come out in 2027. I think the dates as they stand now are May 2026, December 2026, which I'm still thinking might get moved, and then December 2027.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if they did go into production 2 years in advance, that does make sense if it were like late 2025.
It could be dependent on James Mangold's schedule too. Like,
well, that's kind of what he's saying, is that once he finishes this Bob Dylan project,
right,
it's Dawn of the Jedi.
That makes sense to me. And he might have another future project that he wants to work on after Star Wars that he's like, I have to be done with this by this date so that I can work on this other thing.
Sure. It's possible. I don't know what else he's got. And he's got Swamp Thing as well, I think. I'm not as well versed in my DC projects, but I think he wants to do a Swamp Thing movie, and people were wondering if that would come before or after Dawn of the Jedi. But it sounds like Dawn of the Jedi is next on his to-do list.
Good. Let's get it done. Let's put that one out early.
Yeah. Let's just surprise everyone and move all the release dates up. I mean, hey,
put it out in chronological order, you cowards.
They recently announced that they filmed a surprise Predator movie, and everyone was like, what? So you know what, maybe
is it just 1 or 2?
We had known that Predator Badlands was on the way, and then they were giving an update on that, and they said, oh, and also we shot a second one. And so there's 2 Predator movies on the horizon. Yeah, why not? Maybe Mando and Grogu is going to be a surprise, just like 2 movie thing.
Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, who knows? It'd be nice to get some surprises like that instead of hearing another movie project that just like fades into the ether. And the final question we got this week is about D23 Brazil, which is happening next weekend, and they asked if we could get any announcements from D23 Brazil. And I don't know if they've ever announced anything in the past.
I think we've gotten some stuff, because I was going to say, I feel like either Andor or Mandalorian news came out from that.
Something in my gut says we have seen D23 Brazil news before, and I don't know if it was like a full-on announcement or maybe project updates. So maybe that's what Daisy Ridley's imminent news means. Or maybe we could see like an announcement of a new animated series or something. I do think they're going to save most of their big news for Celebration in April, but I mean, that's still almost half a year away. So maybe they have got something ready to go for D23 Brazil.
Did we already get an Andor Season 2 trailer?
Not officially released. They did show us the D23 footage. Like, there was footage at D23 and it leaked online, along with the Mando and Grogu trailer, and there was a lot of extra footage, so maybe, okay, this could
get that.
The most likely thing for me sounds like just another Skeleton Crew trailer, because we're about to be a month away from that. Like, on the day this video comes out, it'll be a month and a day, so 3 weeks out, get us another trailer. That makes some sense.
Sure.
So I'm not expecting anything big. Although we are going to be out of town that weekend. So now that I think about it.
You jinxed it.
Yep. We are going to be gone. We'll be camping and might not even have cell signal. So we're going to be out in the woods, and D23 Brazil is going to announce everything, and we'll miss it all. You're welcome for being gone again. But that's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.